Hi, Helen from crystalsandcrochet.com here, and welcome to the first part one of this year's crochet along, which is called Virtue. Okay, so below the video, okay, if you have a look in the bit of typing that's below the video, please download the PDF in US terms so that you have all of the stitch counts that you need. Please also go to the Introducing Virtue post. Again, the link is below this video. There you can download, if you scroll down to where it says yarn packs, you can download the colours per round, okay, which covers this yarn pack, which is the naturals one. It also covers the yarn pack for the photo tutorial, which is Stylecraft Special Double Knitting. You've also got all of the details on there of what the testers used and links to their projects, etc. So before you start, make sure that you've got all the information that you need. Okay, part one takes us from round 1 through to round 22. Okay, the PDF will also give you the finish size at each part, at the end of each part, okay? And remember that because the video tutorials are quite detailed, there's more than one video tutorial for each part. Again, you find all the links on my website, okay? I hope you enjoy. For the video tutorials, I am using Stylecraft Naturals, bamboo and cotton, and a 3.5mm hook. I also recommend that you have a pointed yarn needle, okay? When you're working with cotton, to make sure that your ends are securely fastened, using a pointed needle is better than using a blunt one. You will also need a second hook that's 1.5 to 2 sizes smaller than your main hook. This is only for when you are making slip stitch joins. We'll get to those as we go along. Okay, so before we start, make sure that you familiarise yourself with abbreviations and the special stitches. Obviously with the video tutorial I will be covering all of those, but the more you familiarise yourself by reading the pattern first, the easier you will find everything, and the sooner you'll learn to read patterns as well. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, round 1. Also make sure that you have got the colours per round PDF downloaded, because although for both the photo tutorial and video tutorial I have used 5 colours, I've used them in completely different orders. Okay, so do make sure that you've got your colours per round list. Okay, round 1. We are going to start with a magic ring. So leave yourself a nice long tail and then wrap the yarn around your finger from front to back, cross over, okay, and then just pinch that yarn in between your hands, but keep everything relaxed. You're going to go under the first loop, the one nearest to the tip of your finger, over the second loop, and pull through and twist or fold your hand back, okay? And then you can pull your finger out and you're going to make a chain 1, and there is your magic ring, okay? The reason for using a magic ring is so that you can pull your centre as tight as it will possibly go. Okay, we are then going to start by making a beginning 3 double crochet cluster into the ring. Okay, so we need to chain 2, and that counts as our first partial double crochet. We're then going to yarn over into the ring, pull up a loop, put 3 loops on a hook, yarn over and pull through 2. That's our second partial double crochet. Okay, again, yarn over, in and pull up a loop, yarn over and through 2. So we've got 3 loops left on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, so that is a beginning 3 double crochet cluster. Okay, we've then got a repeat. We're going to chain 1. Okay, and make sure that you always keep your chains in between stitches the same size as the top loop of a normal stitch. That way your work will sit nice and flat. Okay, we're then going to make a 3 double crochet cluster. So it's yarn over, in, pull up a loop, yarn over, through 2. Yarn over, in, pull up a loop, yarn over and through 2. Again, yarn over, in, pull up a loop, yarn over and through 2. Okay, and this time, because we're making a normal 3 double crochet cluster, we've got 4 loops on the hook. But still yarn over and pull through all of those loops. Okay, so that's our repeat. Chain 1 and then 3 double crochet cluster. You're going to do that 5 times. Okay, and then I'll come back to you before we finish off. Okay, so you've got your beginning 3 treble cluster, then chain 1, 3 treble cluster, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. You're then going to make a chain 1. Okay, and then pinch the bottom of this cluster and just pull. Okay, and pull your magic ring as tight as it will go. Okay, so a magic ring always closes tighter than a chain start does. Lift that working loop up and take your hook out. Take your smaller hook, pop it in, and we're then going to join to our beginning cluster. Okay, so make sure that you're into the top 2 loops of that, pull through, lift and pop your working hook back in. Okay, what you will notice, hang on, let me just get that out of the way. What you will notice, there's a normal size top loops, and you can see that your slip stitch is like less than half the size. So by doing this, using a smaller hook to make your slip stitch joins, you don't confuse them as an extra stitch. Okay, so that is round 1 complete. Round 2, we're going to slip stitch into that next chain 1 space. Okay, so pop your hook into the space, pull up a loop and come through and through that stitch. Okay, and that's your slip stitch made. We're then going to chain 1 just to lift us up to the correct height, and we're going to make 3 single crochet excuse me, in that chain 1 space. Okay, if it helps you, just grab a stitch marker. Pop a stitch marker into that first stitch so that you don't mistake this slip stitch or chain one as a stitch. Okay, then we're going to start our repeat. So we're going to chain one, and remember, not too tight, keep it the same size as your normal stitches. Skip the next stitch, which is our cluster, and then in the chain one space we are going to make 3 single crochet. Okay, you're going to do that 5 times, okay, which will bring you round to here. So you'll have 3 single crochet in this last chain one space. You then chain one and join to that first single crochet with a slip stitch. Okay, so it's 3 single crochet in each chain one space, chain one and skip each stitch. So you'll have a total of 6 chain one spaces and 18 single crochet. Okay, so once you've finished round 2 and you've done that extra chain one, you're then going to slip stitch in the front loop only. Okay, so make sure you're only in the front loop and make that slip stitch. Okay, round 3. First of all, we've got a hint to keep our chains the same size as the top loops of normal stitches, and that your work will cup slightly. Okay, so to begin, chain 4, and that counts as a front loop treble, okay, because we've joined in the front loop. If you need to, just pop a marker into that back loop of that stitch, just so that it helps you on the next round. Okay, our repeat is 2 front loop treble in the next stitch. So when you're making a front loop, always go up from bottom to top. Okay, so treble, yarn over twice, into the front loop only, and through 2 loops 3 times. Okay, front loop treble in the next stitch. Also, when you're making trebles and you want to keep the top loops nice and neat, like that, I will show you a little trick in a second. Okay, so we've got 2 in that stitch, 1 in that stitch. We're then going to chain 1, we're going to skip the chain 1 space, and we are going to front loop treble in the next stitch. Okay, so that is our repeat. So in each of the set of 3 single crochets, you're going to have 1 front loop treble. Okay, then when you make your treble, roll down like that, okay, and that will help to keep the top loops of your trebles nice and tight and even. Okay, so it's 1 into the first single crochet, 2 into the second single crochet, and 1 into the third one. Okay, chain 1, skip the chain 1 space, and then 1 front loop treble in the next stitch. Okay, so you're going to repeat that all the way round. Don't worry that your work curls up slightly. We will fix that on the next round. Okay, you're going to do that repeat 6 times. Okay, so it's 2 front loop treble in this stitch, 1 front loop treble in the next stitch, chain 1, skip the chain 1 space, 1 front loop treble in the next stitch, 6 times. Okay, and then once you've come all the way round, you are going to join with a slip stitch in the top of the chain 4, but in the back loop only of that chain 4. Okay, so join with a slip stitch in the back loop only. Round 4. Okay, so as I said, your work is going to cup slightly. Don't worry about that. We are about to change all of that. Let me just zoom in a weeny bit so you can see this clearly. Okay, we're going to start off with a chain 1, and that's just purely to lift us up to the level we need to be. Then we're going to make a single crochet going through the back loop of that chain 4 and through the corresponding back loop, which is the one that I recommended that you pop a marker in. Okay, and we're going to make a single crochet. So we're going to yarn over, pull through both of those loops as if it's one, then yarn over and make a single crochet. Okay, so that is our first stitch. So again, it's always just handy to pop a stitch marker in there to help you. Okay, now we're going to make a folding single crochet in the next 3 stitches and their corresponding back loop from round 2. Okay, so this one, remember that we've got 2 front loop trebles in here. So we're going to go through the back loop and then come down. I always find it easiest just to flip over. That is the back loop of the stitch that we've got 2 front post trebles in. Okay, so the next one goes into that same stitch. Okay, and then through the back loop and through the next one, and you can see that next one is the chain. Okay, so it helps you just to sort of keep on track, and that is what happens. Okay, so the front loop trebles get folded over and you're working in the back loop so you can see the ridge here of the front loop stitches. Okay, chain 1, skip the next chain 1 space here, and then folding single crochet in the next stitch and the corresponding back loop. Okay, so again, remember that one is our chain 1. If this is a new stitch to you, what you may well find is that by marking each chain 1, it just helps you to see the 3 back loops. Let me zoom out a bit, that'd be too close, there we go. It helps you to see the 3 back loops that you need to work into. Okay, so just carry on round, and you can see now as we're folding those over, that's sitting nice and flat. Okay, so carry on round, repeat that 6 times. You're only going to omit that last folding single crochet because you've already made it. Okay, so a chain 1 over each chain 1, and then there's a group of 4 folding single crochets. You've got 1, 2 and 1 as you work around. Okay, once you are done and you've come all the way round, don't forget to make that last chain 1 and then join to your first folding single crochet, fasten off and secure your ends. I always recommend an invisible join. Okay, so that's what I recommend because it helps to keep your work nice and neat. If you're not sure how to do an invisible join, just have a look at my YouTube channel. It's all there for you. Okay, one thing that I will suggest is don't work your ends away until you've done a few more rounds. Okay, just in case you have made a mistake with your stitch count, but always double check your stitch counts against the PDF every time you complete a round. Okay, make sure that you've got 6 repeats of 4 folding crochets with a chain 1 space in between each. Okay, well, we'll move on to round 5, and we are going to join with a standing single crochet in the last folding single of any repeat. Okay, so let's see, that's where I started last time, so I'm going to come opposite. Okay, and I am going to start with a standing single crochet in this stitch before the chain 1 space. Okay, standing single crochet. Okay, and then our repeat. Working in front of the chain 1 spaces, we're going to make a front post treble around the cluster from round 1. Okay, so yarn over twice, come down in front and go in through that chain 1 space, out through the next one, so that you're right around the top of that cluster, and make your front post treble. Okay, so it's going to sit in front of those chain 1 spaces in between the groups of folded stitches. Okay, just pop your thumb and pull those down to make sure that you don't catch those loops from the top of the trebles, and you're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches. Okay, and that is your repeat. So working in front of the chain 1 spaces, you're going to make a front post treble around the cluster in round 1, and then working into the folding single crochets, making sure that you're not catching the front loops of these trebles that we folded over. Excuse me. Excuse me. Single crochet in those next 4 stitches. Okay, you're going to do that 6 times. You're going to omit the last single crochet because you've already made that there at the beginning, and join to that standing single crochet with a slip stitch. Round 6. Okay, we're going to chain 3. That counts as a double crochet. Okay, and we're going to make 2 double crochet in the next stitch, and if you look at the pattern, it's got in purple in between the brackets FPTR. So basically what that's telling you is that those 2 double crochet in the next stitch are made into that front post treble. Okay, then we're going to double crochet in the next stitch and make 2 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. Okay, so 1, 2, and 1, 2, and then 1 in the next stitch. Okay, so that is our repeat. So starting with 2 double crochet into the front post treble, then 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 2 double crochet in each of the next 2, and then 1 in the last one. Okay, so as you work around, it's going to go 2, 1, 2, 2, 1. Okay, all the way round. Join to the top of the chain 3 in the front loop only. Okay.